Well, exactly to Durban now, where South Africa's heritage and culture is on display at this year's Tourism Indaba. Let's cross live now to eNCA anchor Eleni Giokos, who is at the Durban International Convention Centre. Eleni, you mentioned earlier that there's this drive for different sectors within the tourism industry to work together as opposed to competing against each other for the benefit of Africa as a whole.
Absolutely, and this is the thing, and we've said before that the African market is very important to South African tourism, and we started to see this with the likes of the big players. So Sun International has seen an increase of around 17% from business out of the African continent, and this is expected to continue quite significantly. Joining us now to discuss this further, we have the General Manager of Resort Sales and Distribution at Sun International, Ian Anderson. Thank you so for joining us. Great to have you on eNCA. And this is exciting. We're seeing double-digit growth in terms of tourists out of the rest of the continent into South Africa. And this is just the Sun International numbers that we've seen. So break that down for us.
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. I mean, we see Africa as has huge potential going forward. I think it's an area that we just haven't focused on before. As I say, at the moment, what our numbers are telling us is that we're 17% ahead. We've created a new division specifically to focus on Africa, and it's key for us to find these new markets and drive business down into South Africa.
Right, let's just take a look at what the African tourist wants to come here and do. Because what we know is it's normally about retail tourism, it's normally about business. Are these the trends that you're seeing as well?
Very much so. I think the number one driver for them is business. We get a lot of business, and then very much shopping. It's all about shopping. And what we've done, particularly with, say, our new hotel we've just opened in Sandton, the Maslow, we're focusing on that type of business. It's designed around the corporate business traveller, and also we're catering for their shopping. We have specific storage area for all their shopping and to cater exactly for their needs.
Let's also touch on the customer mix that you have. We know that the domestic market, interestingly, is actually still the biggest market for Sun International. And we keep talking about domestic tourism not being as good as what it should. But from the people I've been speaking to, domestic tourism is actually not that bad. I mean, the hospitality industry is benefiting.
Definitely. I mean, we've seen a noticeable turn in our business. You might have noticed we just released our third quarter results, and from a resorts point of view, we're 31% up year on year. So there's definitely been a turn in business. Our biggest sector remains the South African domestic market for us, and then it's about finding those source markets offshore and in Africa at the end of the day that can help sustain that growth going forward.
I mean, double-digit growth as well coming through for the African tourist as well. But at the end of the day, what percentage of Africans make up the overall numbers for Sun International?
Yeah, within South Africa, the percentage at this stage is still pretty small. It's around 12%. But we've definitely identified Africa, and going forward into our next year's budget, we've put some healthy growth through there. And we'll be looking for more than double-digit growth out of Africa for the next 3 to 5 years.
What has been the big game changer for the hospitality industry? Was it the global financial crisis in 2008, which saw emerging markets gaining a lot of power, and the likes of China, as an example, being sort of the bigger players? Or would you say it was the World Cup that changed the fate of tourism in SA?
Well, I think there are two factors that come into play here. Definitely the world economic crisis had a big impact on us, specifically out of your core markets, particularly in the Eurozone. So we've seen a flattening of our business out of the Eurozone, and we're really trying to maintain our market share. But what we've seen come through, like everybody, is the emerging markets. Our business coming out of South America, our business coming out of China, our business coming out of India, our business out of Russia has all started to grow. And what it's doing, it's replacing the business coming out of the core market. So I think that's the one area. And the other one is the World Cup. And the World Cup definitely did put South Africa on the map. And, you know, it's a fact that they say after a big event like a World Cup, there'll always be a lag in terms of tourism. And what we're starting to see now is we're starting to see the benefit that the World Cup gave the destination from an exposure point of view. And I foresee us to continue to grow, our business continue to grow going forward.
So there's certain numbers that bother me. When I see a 10.2% increase in tourism numbers last year overall in South Africa, I look at the occupancy rates, and the average occupancy rate in SA is still just above 50%, which means that 1 in every 2 beds is occupied at every one time. Is this your experience as well? Because this is not a great figure.
Yeah, look, it's not. And I think really what it does do, it shows that there's still capacity for us to grow the business in South Africa, and that we must grow it both domestically and internationally. I think one of the biggest challenges that we still have, we could do with more airlift into South Africa, and I think also we need to really have a stronger focus on Africa, because I think there is so much business there that is sitting for us to go in and cap, which will help us increase the overall occupancies in this country, and also to do away with seasonality, because seasonality does have an impact in terms of your averaging of your occupancy.
Okay, what about costs? Because costs also play a big role. Did you find that prices became inflated after the World Cup? Because from a consumer perspective, food has become far more expensive, the cost of energy becoming more expensive, and then coupled with that, getting to go and stay over at a place, any one of the resorts Sun International has, is also more expensive.
Look, I think South Africa is seen as an exotic destination, and let's be honest, it's all about what you perceive as value, and it's what the customer perceives as value. And from our point of view, South Africa offers enormous value, and that price perception needs to be coupled with value. And we have been through a period where perhaps we've got a little bit pricey, but I think everything has adjusted itself now, and I think this country offers great value for money.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ian, for your time. Great to have you on eNCA. Ian Anderson, he's the Group Manager, Resorts, Sales and Distribution at Sun International.
News that moves. eNCA.com.